I'm going to share with you guys today the most amazing thing that's ever occurred in my life. I don't understand what happened. I don't even really understand how I got out of the situation that occurred this particular night. And to be honest, the most amazing thing that's ever occurred in my life is this night. I used Metal Gear Solid tactics, and they fucking worked in real life. I evaded a shit ton of police officers and police forces, and I think even dogs, by doing these tactics. And I'm a little bit proud of myself. Now I can die a happy man. Let me give you a little background on this story. It occurred when I was in high school. I live in Boulder, Colorado. It's a predominantly white and rich town. There's very few minorities. They live on the outskirts in trailer parks. It's the sad truth of our society that this occurs, but that is where they live. And there's very few, if any, African American people at the time. There are more now thanks to the University of Colorado. They just have students of color anyway. I was hanging out with two buddies during this time period in my life, and one was a guy by the name of Brandon. He was African American, and we were neighbors before he joined my high school, and we were good friends. And another is a friend of mine named David. He is Hispanic, so we like to dress gangster. We like to dress in baggy clothes, hoodies, and everyone else in this town likes to dress preppy primarily, and plaid shirts and whatever, just stuff that we didn't like to mesh with because it's just not us. So there's a cultural difference going on right there, and we didn't participate with a lot of the students in our school. I am Italian Syrian, by the way, so it's very easy for me to blend in with everyone. 50% Italian, 50% Syrian. You can't really tell what I am if you look at me. Some people are like, are you French? Are you Greek? Are you Italian? Are you Arab? I'm all of those things. It's easier for me to blend. And to put in perspective how weird it is being an African American student in our school, very first day of classes, Brendan and I are sitting together in the hallways, putting our stuff into our lockers for the first time. Everyone's doing it, so everyone's around us. And all of a sudden we hear on the intercom the principal, and she goes, "We have just gotten a African American student, and we'd like you all to treat him with respect and invite him into our community," and blah blah blah. And how fucking embarrassing, because nobody needs to hear that shit on their first day of school, especially, or ever, to be honest, because it's not like it's something they didn't see or didn't notice right away, and it's not like they weren't already staring at him. And so that's what occurred. So we became mischievous. We like to do a lot of crazy stuff. Brendan, David, and I would go out in the middle of the night, and we would just fuck with people. One time there was a hole in a fence with a mesh tarp over the fence, and it was in an area where women would primarily go jogging. So what Brendan did was he got down on his knees, or he crouched. What he did was he crouched, he put his hoodie over his knees, and he walked, and it looked really decrepit, and he would come out of this hole making a weird noise as some women would run by. And this was in the night, and they would just scream and run, and it was hilarious. He'd be like, "Aah!" And they'd be like, "Oh my god, what the fuck is that?" And like, they wouldn't even run together. These women would just run in all sorts of directions. You didn't even know what was going on. And it was hilarious. And I wish we videotaped it. I really would show you guys these things, because they were harmless for the most part. Here's another example of the kind of shit we did. One night, it was probably like midnight in the summer. We were walking down this alleyway, and it was pretty dark, and we noticed a lot of cars would drive through, and we decided, you know what, next car that drives by, let's pretend like Brendan's getting the shit beaten out of him by us. I have to say, our performance was pretty good. Brendan was screaming like a bitch. We were kicking the shit out of him. David was throwing the gangster slang all over the place. Cars would go by. The people, their faces, priceless. Jaws dropping. One woman cried, unfortunately. Was like, "Alright guys, get up," so she could see that we're okay. And, she flicked us off when she realized it was just a joke, and rightfully so, because we just fucked up her emotions, and I'm sorry about that lady. Then we decided to do it one more time. I really wish we hadn't. It was a truck. The driver got out. He happened to be a football player. He hit a spotlight right on us. I couldn't really see. And before I knew it, I got tackled and thrown to the ground, and my head bounced off the ground like a bouncing ball. I mean, I didn't know heads could bounce like that, and it's surprisingly not painful right away, because it's like so shocking to your body when your body hits the ground that hard that everything's like you're just out of your body, you're dazed. And I look up and I see his fist wind up and pull back. If he would have hit me, I would not have a smile to this day. This guy was huge. And his girlfriend got out of the car. She was on the phone with the cops. And Brendan, right before this guy hits me, he goes, no, wait, we're just playing. And this guy he turns around, looks at Brendan, he goes, what the fuck, kids? And I'm like, all right, I get it. Because now he's feeling bad because he just fucked me up. He's like, I just fucked this kid up. What, are you guys stupid? Yes. The answer is yes, we are stupid, but please let me go because I'm terrified of you. He let me go. I had a lot of trouble getting up, and I had to like have my hands on their shoulders, resting. It's bad when you get hit by a guy that big and you're in high school. Here's where the story begins. One night, we went back to my apartment complex. We all lived in 3 separate apartment complexes they were probably like 15 streets away from each other. We went to my apartment complex, and at the back side of my apartment complex, there's a grass field that is it's huge, okay? And it's surrounded by a huge fence with like wiring on the top, not military style, but civilian style bullshit where they're like, don't jump our fences. It's kind of hard to get over those fences. And in that field is a small 1-story building. Looks like it was built in the 70s. It's where the maintenance for my apartment complex works in. And we noticed the guy would like sleep in there every night. And he was also a maintenance worker, but I feel like he was an illegal immigrant just because I just get that vibe. We decided to knock on his window. It was late fall, so we go and knock on the window and then run back and hide in the grass. And the first night Brendan did it, and the guy kind of was like, at first he was really scared. He comes out with his flashlight and looks around like, what the shit was that? Why did my window just nearly explode? Because Brendan just about broke it. His dumb ass, man. He hit it way too hard. And then we got our laughs. We walked away that night. I mean, the guy was looking around for like 10 minutes. It was hilarious. Next night, it's David's turn. Same thing occurs. Guy comes out. He's all disturbed looking. I don't know if he's involved with the mafia or whatever, because he's just really disturbed. He's looking like he's going to die. And I'm like, shit. The third night, it was my turn. And I was excited. I was going to go and hit the shit out of this window. I was going to prove to my boys that I can do this. And this is a great time in life. This is how you bond with your brothers. I go to hit the window. I wind back, and boom! It's like I died. Everything turns white. I don't even know what's going on. Honestly, when you get hit with light that intense, it's like you almost become deaf. It's like you died and went to heaven. And I'm like, what just happened? What's going on, guys? And they're like, dude, someone's pointing a spotlight at you. Really? Yeah, dude, come back. All right, man. Shit. So I come running back into the grass, and I jump into it. And I'm trying to adjust. I mean, my eyes are fucked from the spotlight. I'm trying to adjust. I'm like looking around, and I noticed that there's a cop behind the fence to our left. And I'm thinking to myself, why is this cop posted up here? Why did he hit me with a spotlight? And then I look around, and there's cop cars all over the perimeter of the fence. I don't even know what's going on at this point. Dude, do you guys see this? They're looking around there. We see cops coming from the back entrance, or from the front entrance. There is no back entrance. And we see them start walking down into the grass field. There is way too many for this to be something normal. This is not like, hey guys, can you stop knocking on the window and like scaring this guy? This is like, hey, we're gonna arrest you or shoot you because you guys have killed many people and you're doing something horrible and we need to fuck you up right now. So it was intimidating as shit, and there was just way too many cops for me to be like, okay, this is cool, let's just go explain it to the cop. It took me 2 seconds to think it over. Okay, white town, the 3 minorities in the town all hanging out together, and 1,000 cops walking up to them like they want to just kill them, basically, like fuck them up real good. And I'm thinking to myself, nope, we're not going to say shit to these guys, we're going to run. I know the layout of this area pretty well. I'm like, guys, just follow me, let's go. And we start running. I look back, and Brendan eats shit. His shoe goes flying up in the air. And this guy, like I said, we wore baggy clothes. He wears extra baggy. I mean, he wears baggy to the point where it can, like, fall off his ass if he doesn't hold his pants. His shoes are, like, an extra size too big, and his hood keeps slapping him in the face as he's running. It's just a horrible situation for him because he can't run. So he eats shit. We're like, okay, let's go hide in this bush until he gets up and comes into the bush. So I'm sitting there, I'm looking around like, okay, what do I do? What the fuck do I do? There's way too many cops. Where do I go? There's 2 guys with me, and I can't afford to have either of them caught because, like, if one of them's caught, it's pretty obvious who they were hanging out with. Like I said, the only 3 minorities that you can think of in the town. I look to my right, And there's a police officer that had spotted us going into this bush, and he's climbing the fence. He wants to come and get us. And I'm like, shit! Like, this is what, we got like 10 seconds. And then I see Brendan walk up to our bush with the spotlight on him, all casual, like, dude, let's just go explain this to him. No, dude, you don't get it. We can't just go explain it to him. Look at how many people there are. And then I start hearing dogs bark, and I look him in the eyes. I'm like, this is what you want to go stop and explain to that? And he looks at me like, oh, fuck no. And Brendan's holding my legs. He's crying, man. He's like, I can't afford to get caught. My parents will kill me. I'm like, fuck no, you can't afford to get caught, because I mean, it's just basic logic. We will get fucked with something. We'll probably go to jail for some reason. I mean, that's the feeling you get when you have this many cops coming at you. This is a serious situation. Brendan and David both crouched in the bush at this point. I'm like, okay, guys, this cop is coming up on us. Just follow me on 3. I know where we're going to go. There's a sewer at the back end of this field. It leads to the other side. Let's just try that. On 3, get up and run. We get up, we start running. I look back to see if they're running with me. Yeah, they're running with me. But so is a horde of police officers, and they all have stun guns and shit. And I see the electricity, and I'm like, holy shit. I put my hands in the air right away. I mean, it was instinctual. And I go, we don't have weapons. We don't have any fucking weapons. And they go, okay, can you stop? And I'm like, no, we can't stop. So I'm running, and I'm having a conversation with this female officer that's pretty damn close to me as she's chasing me. And I'm just telling her, like, look, we're unarmed as we're running, and I'm running away from her, and I'm going, do not hurt us. And she's going, okay, but stop. And I'm not going to stop, because you turn off that laser and you get like 90% of these cops to go away. And yeah, I'll stop, but that shit's unacceptable. And then what Brendan and David described to me as the tallest, like, I'm 6 foot tall, so they said it looked really funny how I just crouched instantly and still kept my momentum and speed running through this tunnel. And they get in the tunnel with me. Okay, guys, let's keep going. Where are you? And they're like fighting. They're like smacking each other and shit back there. I'm like, what are you guys doing? Come on. And Brendan's like, I need to take a break. And David's behind Brendan. Before I know it, I'm already at the end of the tunnel. I'm like, fuck it, I'll go look around and see where we can go. And I look around, and there's this parking lot. And it's full of cars. Okay, this is a good place. We could go from here. And I'm looking back at the field because the cops didn't see us go through here. And they're still looking in the field with their lights and shit. And I could see the back of a couple of police officers. I'm like, holy shit. And then I look to my right because I hear something. And there is a guy on his bike riding right at me. It's a cop on his bike. And he's got a buddy coming in behind him. And I'm like, oh, fuck. I can't go back. If I go back, we're screwed. We're going to go back to the field. We're caught. Brendan and David are probably still bitching at each other, and they're better just divert the attention somewhere else. So I go running through this parking lot, and I'm making circles around these cars. And these guys are following me in a circle, and then they decide to split up. And at this point, I'm going through the cars because I'm not going to keep going in circles, and they're going to catch me because that's stupid. I'm not going to, like, crouch underneath the car because it'll take seconds for them to find me. That's just stupid as hell. I notice as I'm running that in the recycling area of this facility that's next to this parking lot, there is a decent-sized cardboard box, and it is placed in a position, I mean, it's already in the position I need it to be, so if the cops already saw it, they wouldn't think twice. It wouldn't move. I would just go under it, and that's that. Lucky for me, these guys get off their bikes, so now they don't have that height advantage that they had earlier. Now they have to, like, kind of look around to find me as they're running through the cars, and I'm crouched, and I'm running as I'm crouched. And I go up to this area, and I put this box over me. And I'm looking around for like a good minute and a half, and they're looking around everywhere. They're getting on their hands and knees and looking underneath cars, and they can't figure out where I went. I just used the Metal Gear Solid tactic, and it fucking worked. Good for me. Very proud moment in my life. Now, we gotta go to the creek path. It will lead us to Brennan's apartment complex, and we can spend the night there. It'll work out perfectly. I'm waiting for them in between the creek path and the area we were just at in the brush, and I see these two walking as if everything's casual. I'm thinking to myself, why are they out on the sidewalk walking like a bunch of idiots? And so I pop out of the brush, and they're like, oh shit, why are you guys walking? Hurry up, run over here. And they're like, no dude, no, it's cool. We could just pretend like we weren't involved. Really? Because you're the only black kid in this town, and you're wearing a hoodie, which nobody else does. He sits there and he's actually contemplating what I'm saying. Of course I'm right. So he runs up to me, and I grab David and I push his head down, because right as I pushed his head down, a spotlight went through this area that we were at. I look up through the brush, and there are cars coming, driving through grass, driving down the creek path. they're coming right in our general area. Did they see them? Like, why are these cops still chasing us? I come up with the idea, like, let's go, we got to go to the creek path. But by this point, there's a cop that's standing between the area we're at and the creek path, and there's a big ass boulder between that cop and the area we need to get to. We decided to sneak up there. I went up first. I ran behind this boulder and I stood there for a little while and I waited to see if he heard me. I ran over to the other side, so now I'm at the creek, and then Brendan went and then David went. Okay guys, there's a bunch of like sticks and shit in the water. Let's just go under the water and put the stuff over us and go upstream. Like, yeah, it's gonna look suspicious, but it's the best shot we have. And there are still cops, like I said, looking everywhere, but if you look at this bunch of sticks and shit, it's not that noticeable if you go really slow. We went under these sticks and we put them all around us and we went up. We went upstream for a good like 5 minutes. It got really cold. That's why we got out of the water, because we started like all like shaking and shit. We get out of the water, we go up to the brush in that area, and apparently Brendan and David are still fighting. I see Brendan hold back this huge branch for us to walk by, and right as David goes up to it, Brendan releases it and smacks him in the face. And these two start slapping each other. There are cops like 20 feet away from us. There's just slaps, slaps. Are you making these noises right now? And then he's like, come on, dude, I'll fuck you up. No, dude, I'll fuck you both up. I will fuck you both up. And I start slapping both of them. And then they start slapping me. And we're all slapping each other. And I look behind us, and there's cops coming up the water. They see us. Okay, we blew it. I know this area pretty well. It's pretty dense in vegetation. Even though it's the fall, it's still full of like vines and trees and shit and like bushes that we can go around and stuff. We get out of that situation. I look up, and I can see a helicopter, and I'm thinking to myself, is this helicopter for us? Is this for real? Like, what the fuck did we do? Why is this happening? At this point, we only need to go up one street, across that street, through the water, up the other side, and then we're into Brennan's apartment complex. I noticed once we got back down into the water and crossed over, behind a tree, I saw like a foot. Is that a foot? Like, I stopped, so they stopped behind me. They're like, what? And I'm like, shh. Is that a foot? I can't tell. Is that a foot? I don't know. Is that a foot? I don't know. And then someone grabs me from the side. They're hiding and waiting for us, and this guy grabs me. He grabs my hoodie just barely, and I get out of it. I'm running. Brendan gets caught. David and I turn, and we run up to this cop, and we both push him. This cop had him by the arm. We both push this cop over, and Brendan falls down with this cop. We pick Brendan up. The cop gets back up, and we all three push the cop over. So now we've assaulted a cop. We get up, and we start running. We're basically in the apartment complex. We're running around. There's cops chasing us. They can't know that we live here. So I'm telling them, like, we're going to pretend like we don't live here. And I start yelling, okay, guys, we're almost there. And I yell out a fake address, a fake area of where we're trying to get. Where's 30th? Where's 30th? And they're like, it's over there. Okay, because I live near there. We got away from them. And then when we did get into Brendan's house, they left the area thinking we went to a whole different area. And it was just amazing. And I'll never forget it. I'll never understand what happened that night. Will you guys ever understand what happened that night? No. I'll probably get a lot of people saying, this is too crazy, this couldn't have happened. Well, it happened. I'm glad I get to share this with you guys. I never had anyone other than close friends and families to share this with. It's an amazing story. It's got to be told. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And there's more stories like this to come. You guys just hang tight. I got plenty to share with you guys. And thanks for listening. Hope it enlightened your day.